Florida's restaurant scene is struggling, with many places in Miami and other areas closing their doors. News reports often blame rising costs, hurricanes, or expensive rent, but there's a big factor they're ignoring: Canadian snowbirds. Every winter, close to 1 million Canadians used to head to Florida, escaping their cold weather. They bought vacation homes, stayed in hotels, and spent lots of money at restaurants, keeping these businesses busy during quieter months. But recently, things have shifted. Many Canadians are leaving Florida for good, selling their properties and canceling trips. This isn't just about fewer real estate sales, it's hitting restaurants and hotels hard. Areas that were once packed with tourists now have empty dining rooms, closed kitchens, and quiet hotel lobbies. The loss of these Canadian visitors is creating a ripple effect, hurting businesses that depended on their spending. Oddly, U.S. news barely mentions this change, focusing instead on issues like inflation. But the truth is, Florida's economy leaned heavily on these seasonal visitors. Without them, the restaurant industry is feeling the pinch, and it could be the start of bigger economic problems. Could Canada's absence be a key reason for these closures? The story is bigger than what's being reported, and it's worth digging into how this might affect Florida's future. For years, Canadians have been a vital part of Florida's winter economy, bringing energy and money to the Sunshine State. Every year, nearly 1 million snowbirds, Canadians escaping their chilly winters, flock to Florida, soaking up the warm weather. They don't just come for the sandy beaches. They buy homes, stay in hotels, and spend big at local restaurants, bars, and shops. In 2024, Canadians accounted for about 13% of all foreign homebuyers in the U.S., with most snapping up properties in Florida and Arizona. That's a huge boost for those areas. But things are changing. Over the past year, Canadian news outlets have reported something U.S. media hasn't talked much about. Many snowbirds are selling their Florida homes and leaving for good. Why? For some, it's about money. The weaker Canadian dollar makes everything from groceries to housing pricier. For others, it's political. New U.S. rules require Canadians staying over 30 days to register, and some feel less welcome due to tensions at the border. Florida real estate agents are seeing this firsthand. One agent shared that she usually handles about 10 property listings during the busy season, but this year, she managed over 30, mostly from Canadians wanting to sell. These aren't just people skipping a vacation. Many are saying goodbye to Florida forever. This shift means less money flowing into Florida's restaurants, hotels, and shops, which could hurt the state's economy, especially during quieter months. By the middle of 2025, Florida's food spots were facing big troubles that everyone could see. In Miami, many popular places shut down forever. For example, Andiamo Brick Oven Pizza, a cozy spot loved by locals for over 25 years, stopped serving its tasty pies. Chica, known for its great meals after 6 years in business, also closed its doors. The biggest surprise was Osteria Deliatro, a famous Italian eatery that lasted 40 years but couldn't keep going. Even Sardinia, a favorite on Miami Beach, had to give up. It wasn't just the old favorites struggling, new ones were hurting too. Flora Plant Kitchen, a cool place with healthy plant-based food, saw its sales drop by almost 40% from the springtime. Insignia, which opened less than a year ago, shared on social media that it was closing for good. Local news often blamed high prices, expensive rent, or the hot summer weather and storms that scare people away. Those problems are true, but they miss a key part: fewer visitors from other countries, like the Canadian snowbirds who used to come in winter and stay through tough times, filling up tables when locals stayed home. These visitors helped restaurants stay busy and pay their bills during slow months. Florida has always had quiet summers with extreme heat, hurricane risks, and fewer American travelers. But in the past, Canadians and others from abroad made up for it, bringing steady crowds. Now in 2025, that help is missing, and no one seems to talk about why. When a place that lasted so long suddenly fails, it shows bigger changes are happening, like shifts in travel patterns due to costs or other global issues. This leaves workers jobless and neighborhoods without their go-to spots, making everyone wonder what's next for Florida's dining scene. Many eateries in Florida that used to rely on visitors from Canada and other countries are now dealing with quiet dining areas. Business owners are making changes to stay afloat, like shortening evening hours, letting go of some workers, or offering fewer food choices. A few have decided to close completely after dark because the expenses are too high compared to the small number of diners showing up. Local travelers aren't filling the gap enough. With higher prices for food at home, rent, and fuel, lots of American families can't afford short trips to places like Miami or Fort Lauderdale anymore. Even those who come often choose quick, cheap meals instead of sitting down at restaurants. This creates a big chain reaction. Fewer guests lead to empty tables, which means job losses, lower pay, and less spending in neighborhoods. It hurts hotels, stores, and property values too. The main problem is the drop in foreign tourists, especially Canadians, whose visits have fallen sharply. Some reports say by up to 80%. though experts confirm it's less but still significant. Blame rising costs or global issues, but without these snowbirds coming back strong, the food service world is hurting bad, and the problems are growing. This restaurant trouble ties right into Florida's home market woes. For a long time, real estate there boomed, with builders rushing to make new houses thanks to people moving in during tough times and Canadians buying vacation spots. Prices jumped 50% to 60% in just 3 years. But fast rises can mean quick falls. By 2025, things shifted. Home values dropped over 3% across the state in a year, and in spots like Manatee County, it was nearer to 6%. Real estate agents see more houses sitting unsold for 4 or 5 months, not weeks like before. The big reason? Demand has crashed. Inventory is up, sales are down 5.7% for single-family homes in May 2025, and experts predict some areas could see prices fall another 10% through the year. Inflation, high insurance costs, and fewer buyers from out of state are making it tough for everyone involved. Fewer people are moving into Florida now, with numbers dropping sharply, about 80% less than during the busiest times of the COVID-19 pandemic. A big reason is that many Canadians who used to come as seasonal visitors or snowbirds are choosing not to return. They're selling their homes and condos, which means fewer buyers and renters from other countries. This change hurts the real estate market a lot. Even though builders keep putting up new houses and apartments, there's too much supply, so prices are falling fast. For example, in many parts of Florida, condo prices have dropped in over 90% of areas, and single-family homes are cheaper in about 2/3 of markets. This isn't just about homes, it affects everyday life. Empty properties mean fewer families eating at local spots like coffee shops, restaurants, or pubs, so those businesses lose money too. It's like a chain reaction, similar to the big economic trouble back in 2008, spreading to jobs and stores. To see how bad it is, check out Florida's hotels. In late August 2025, a video from Fort Lauderdale showed the Embassy Suites Hotel on 17th Street Causeway looking almost deserted, with only 361 rooms but an empty lobby. No one in the restaurant or bar. It felt like the place was shutting down, not open for fun. August is usually quiet in Florida because of hot weather, but this emptiness is unusual. Normally, tourists from Canada and other countries keep hotels busy by staying, dining, and enjoying drinks. Without them, things are tough. Recent numbers show Canadian visitors fell by around 20% in the second quarter of 2025 compared to last year, while overall international tourism slipped too. Local travelers from within the U.S. aren't filling the gap enough, and many American families can't afford trips because costs for food, rent, and other basics are so high. Empty hotel rooms lead to less business for their eateries, and this slowdown hits airports too. Fort Lauderdale's passenger numbers dropped by up to 21% this year. Overall, Florida's economy feels the pinch from these changes in who comes and stays. When hotel lounges stay quiet and unused, waiters and drink makers end up with fewer work shifts, hurting their paychecks. If hotels lay off workers to save money, the whole area's jobs and businesses feel the pain. These missing winter visitors from Canada, called snowbirds, aren't just skipping meals out. They're leaving a big gap in Florida's travel and food world. In American television and papers, the talk is always about rising prices, sky-high rents, storms jacking up home insurance, and shops fighting to stay open. That's all real, but it misses a key part: how much Florida counted on Canadians and other out-of-country travelers to keep things steady. On the Canadian side, shows like CTV tell stories of families letting go of their sunny Florida homes after years of warm winters there. Reasons include a weaker Canadian dollar making trips cost more, new U.S. laws that make folks sign up after just 30 days, and a sense that they're not wanted anymore because of border rules and politics. Yet, no one links it all up. Americans blame living costs. Canadians point to trip hassles or bad feelings. The truth is, Florida's hotels, eateries, and fun spots grew big on the cash these snowbirds spent, and now that's dried up. Look around. Closed diners, silent hotel halls, and home sales wobbling like back in the 2008 crash. Recent numbers show Canadian visits to Florida dropped 20% this year, wiping out about $6.5 billion in spending that boosted local shops, rentals, and jobs. High U.S. insurance rates, trade fights like tariffs, and a chilly welcome under new leaders add to why many are staying home or heading to places like Mexico. Still, Florida's bosses and news folks act like they never needed those outsiders much, even as the empty spots tell a different tale. The longer people ignore the truth, the worse things will get. Florida's restaurant industry is struggling, and it's not just because of rising prices or storms. A big reason is that Canadian visitors, who used to boost the state's economy, aren't coming as much anymore. This has led to closed restaurants, quiet hotels, and fewer jobs. The effects are clear and widespread. If you found this explanation useful, please give it a thumbs up, follow for more updates, and share it so others can understand what's really happening. Let's spread the word.